bureaucrats on Murthy. What the fuck? She's named them Murthy South Speech. Don't worry, we're pursuing transparency and truth. We've sanctioned Thierry Breton, a mastermind of the Digital Services Act, in August 2024, while serving as European Commissioner for Internal Markets and Digital Services. Okay. And we've sanctioned Imran Ahmed, Biden administration's effort to weaponize the government against U.S. citizens. Ahmed's group, Center for Countering Digital Hate. People from organizations called Center for Countering Digital Hate. That should tell you everything. Claire Melford, she leads Global Disinformation Index. Crazy. They've sanctioned Anna Lena von Hodenberg, the leader and founder of Hate Aid. We've sanctioned Josephine Ballon, co-leader of Hate Aid, who flags disfavor speech throughout Europe. Crazy, man. None of those sanctions is a current UK or EU official. However, we know that foreign governments officials are actively targeting the United States. This week, the UK's Liberal Democrats claimed President Trump national security strategy amounts to foreign interference by a hostile foreign state because it correctly identifies mass immigration and decaying national sovereignty as existential European security concerns. Our targets are foreign, but you'll notice that some collaborated with US bureaucrats on Murthy-style speech suppression, blah, blah, blah. This is nuts. What does Trump want kept hidden and not revealed? That he's a pedo, maybe? Like, it's pretty bad. If anything about him directly involved in doing stuff with kids, like, that's insane, right? Like, he's probably hiding that. Here's another piece of amazing news. Belgium joined South Africa's genocide case against Israel. Everybody, that's something to celebrate for sure. Well done, Belgium. If I have anyone in the chat from Belgium, well done. Good on you guys. Let's keep going. Let's keep going with this Epstein files.
Now legal analyst. Barbara, I want to ask you about what we just got. That was that email. It has lots of redactions, but it discusses the search for at least 10 potential Epstein co-conspirators.
Kia ora, Nathan.
How many in a series of states. Can you tell us what it means, what it says, and any significance you think it has?
It's a very interesting email in that you may recall when Jeffrey Epstein was charged, he did not have named co-conspirators. It's also interesting that they seem to be wanting to serve them with grand jury subpoenas, in that they seem to be treating them more as witnesses than putative targets. But to be a co-conspirator is more than being just a witness. It means somebody who entered into an agreement to violate the law. And so it suggests that these are perhaps people who were complicit in the sex trafficking that Jeffrey Epstein was charged with. It requires more than mere knowledge. It requires an agreement to help commit the crime.
Okay, this tweet is insane. So, Trump, we need Greenland for national security. We have to have it. Someone posted, he wants Greenland like it's a 14-year-old girl. Oh my gosh.
Barbara, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but
I don't know what to say about that.
The beginning of accountability for survivors.
Brutal.
Asking for exactly this kind of information.
That's brutal.
Not just for years, but for decades. They want accountability for co-conspirators, people who committed crimes that led to them being sexually assaulted and even raped.
Yes, it could, but this is where it gets very tricky with the Justice Department. There's a reason the Justice Department typically does not name unindicted co-conspirators and does not release files relating to people who are not charged.
Also, my lighting today is great. Really? My, is this lighting okay, folks? Like, do you like the lighting like this? Is it darker and more brooding, like I'm really revealing some, some secret. It looks like a weird filter, doesn't it?
It's because ultimately they decided there was either insufficient evidence to charge that person criminally, or their cooperation amounted to so much value that they made a decision not to charge that person. To out these people now because they were labeled as co-conspirators, I worry could smear people's reputations. On the other hand, to the extent we have people who have been involved and did commit criminal activity and whose identities have never been disclosed, this could be an avenue for accountability for those survivors and victims. It could provide additional evidence and names that would allow an independent investigation against those individuals starting now.
Barbara, thank you for that. Let me bring in Jack Scarola. He has represented nearly 20 Epstein survivors and has spent nearly 2 decades litigating Epstein cases.
Yeah, I saw that, Ron.
I don't need to tell you accountability
Absolutely,
is what your clients have been asking for. Do you see this? We put it as maybe scratching the surface, maybe starting to look at what the kinds of documents are that they've been looking for. Is that accurate, or what do you make of this letter?
It may be that we have begun to scratch the surface, but clearly it is only a scratch. We have now seen, in spite of a congressionally imposed deadline of disclosure of all documents that was supposed to have occurred last Friday, we've seen about 10% of
tomorrow,
what purports
I don't know,
to
we'll
be
see.
over a million.
It depends what happens
documents.
between now and then.
And unfortunately, what is happening from the victim's perspective is a slow drip of information.
Oh my good. Oh, guys, there's too many breaking news items for me to just keep saying breaking news, okay? CNN just confirmed that the bombshell letter Epstein allegedly sent to Nasser, or Nassar, or I don't know how to say his name, was sent from Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City, where Epstein was held. Trump's DOJ called it fake. So are they claiming someone inside the prison wrote the fake letter? If so, who? What? Too much. My head is about to explode. It's about to explode. So CNN has confirmed that it actually came from the prison that Epstein was in. Oh my gosh, and they wrote an article about it. DOJ says letter signed by Jeffrey Epstein and referencing our president is fake. Oh my goodness. Hold on. What is this going to have? If you can hear that, someone's mowing the lawn. I'm sorry. It's just going to be there for a little bit.
The Justice Department now says the FBI has confirmed that a disturbing letter purportedly sent by Jeffrey Epstein and mentioning Donald Trump is a fake. The department explained their reasoning in a post on social media just minutes ago. They say this, quote, "The writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death out of Northern Virginia when he was jailed in New York. The return address did not list the jail where Epstein was held and did not include his inmate number, which is required for outgoing mail," end quote. The letter, which you can see here, was one of dozens of thousands of documents released this morning. Epstein purportedly sent it to convicted sex offender Larry Nasser in 2019, while both men were imprisoned and during the time that Trump was president. Now, it reads in part, quote, "As you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls." Now, just to underscore here, the Department of Justice now saying that this is a fake. All right, let's get off the sidelines and head into the
This is
arena.
insane.
My panelists here, along with CNN crime and justice correspondent Caitlin Polance and CNN senior law enforcement analyst, former FBI Director Andy McCabe. But Caitlin, let's start with you. This letter that the DOJ now says is a fake. Walk us through what's happened here.
Yeah, a lot of twists and turns and new information that's coming out today, Casey, about this in a trove of documents, nearly 30,000, many of which shed light into the world of the investigation around Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, his co-conspirator who was convicted after his death, and that there are many mentions of Trump, or in this case, quote unquote, our president, including ones that are unconfirmed.
The sci-fi chat is Twitch.
Salacious, and very potentially false. In this situation, this is the FBI looking at a letter that is sent by a handwriting, somebody who's written by hand a letter signed as J. Epstein, and the FBI is telling the Justice Department. The Justice Department is now coming out publicly saying that this letter is fake. It is not from Jeffrey Epstein around the days of his suicide. It was postmarked 3 days after Epstein died. That is one of the reasons that they say that this is not real. They also say this had been flagged at the time that it was sent in the system and received by a prisoner, supposedly Larry Nassar, who was at the time in Arizona in a federal prison. The other reasons, Casey, that the Justice Department is now coming out saying that this is not a true letter that Epstein would have written when he was in jail and right before his death. It didn't have an inmate number needed for outgoing mail, and then the writing also does not appear to match Epstein's handwriting. But even on its own, this was one of the illuminating things that had been found inside this trove of documents, had been obtained by the Bureau of Prisons and the Justice Department, and they did release it. And it had said that, to Larry Nassar from a J. Epstein, our president shares a love of young nubile girls, something that Donald Trump has repeatedly.
By the way, yeah, Rhonda, you're right. Because CNN has confirmed in this report, I don't know if it's in this report or not, but the envelope holding the Epstein-Nassar note was sent from the Metropolitan Correction Center in New York City, where Epstein was being held, to Nassar, and got vetted by federal officials. Wow. Oh my. So it is a real letter? Oh my God. Oh, we're going to catch these people. Oh. I really hope there's accountability for this, guys. I really hope there's going to be accountability for these people. There has to be.
Said that he does not do that, and that he had much of a distance between himself and Epstein over the years after he kicked him out of the Mar-a-Lago club. Casey?
So, Caitlin, what did we find today? What else is out there that I know you mentioned that a lot of it has to do with the investigation? Presumably, these documents that we're seeing that represent emails, correspondence, communication among DOJ employees, FBI employees are legit.
Yeah, I mean, set aside something like this that has no context until the Justice Department comes up later in the day today and provides their statement saying that we believe this is fake. There are internal Justice Department documents, including records of the FBI interviewing witnesses, what those witnesses say. That may not be true, but there is something that is quite illuminating into the investigation around Epstein conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell before her trial. A prosecutor in the Southern District of New York got flight records of Epstein's in January 2020, at the time that he was the president, and flagged for the supervisor or someone else in the administration wrote an email saying that the flight records we received yesterday reflected that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet about 8 times between the years of 1993 and 1996. Some of those rides were taken with Ghislaine Maxwell on the flights. Some of those flights included women who would possibly be witnesses against Ghislaine Maxwell. And the line attorney, apparently writing this inside the Justice Department, noted that they hadn't been aware of this before investigating Maxwell in 2020. So this is after Epstein's death, and also that this person didn't want it to be a surprise down the road to whoever he or she is writing to. So a window there into the Justice Department, putting Trump in the realm of this investigation, even at a time he was president, even though he has never been accused of a crime and apparently was not a subject or target in this investigation ever.
Wow. Okay. And yesterday we looked at this Secot prison as well in El Salvador. That is also kicking off because Hillary has said, curious to learn more about Secot. Here, Juan, Andre, and Wilma share firsthand how the Trump administration branded them as gang members without evidence and deported them to the brutal El Salvadorian prison. All right, Hillary. All right. Still, we don't like you, Hillary. And now, Bukele. Yeah. Well done, Canada. Well done for leaking that. Bukele is now clapping back. Bro, this Bukele guy is a criminal, is a next level criminal. He needs to be brought to justice. Madam Secretary Hillary Clinton, if you are convinced that torture is taking place at Secot, El Salvador is ready to cooperate fully. We are willing to release our entire prison population, including all gang leaders and all those described as political prisoners, to any country willing to receive them. The only condition is straightforward. It must be everyone. This would also greatly assist journalists and your favorite NGOs, who would then have thousands of former inmates available for interviews, making it far easier to find additional voices critical of the Salvadorian government or willing to confirm whatever conclusions are already expected. Surely, if these testimonies reflect a systemic reality, a much larger pool of sources should only reinforce the claim, and many governments should be eager to offer protection. Until then, we will continue prioritizing human rights of the millions of Salvadorians who today live free from gang rule. Oh my God.